friends! My name is Carissa and I am, as of now, a semi-recent graduate of Texas State's master's program. I was asked by Myra Vassian, who is currently a professor in the voice faculty at Texas State, to pass on my program notes. She said that she really enjoyed my program because she said that they were very obviously something that I didn't just look up online and copy and paste. And she's very right when she says that. I loved creating my program and my program notes and my recital. I loved cultivating an overarching picture of what I thought was so cool about those specific parts of the music that I was bringing to life. And I hope that this video will help you also feel maybe a little less intimidated when you're thinking about the order of the music that you're supposed to sing, how you're supposed to even introduce these pieces to people, and possibly creating a story arc that really makes sense to you in the big scheme of things. So 3 things I want you guys to focus on. Cultivating different colors from different parts of human existence. 2, find out the reason why you create program notes. 3, unifying it together so it's a single idea that you can take the audience on for a ride. So the first part of this video is going to talk a little bit about what you want to create. When I created my recital, I thought, you know what? I want to bring all different parts of life and nature and dramatic and stoic, right? And I think a lot of times a recital is really successful when we can specifically cultivate as many emotions and vibrations, if you want to say, in the world and kind of bring them to the stage that we're performing on. And it's also good to keep in mind that as we are creating, we are artists, right? We are creating this music, and that's really easy to forget when we're doing our juries or we're doing our recital and we're like, oh my god, what do I have to do? Just let me sing Voi che sapete and not mess it up, right? But we have to think beyond that, right? When we're thinking beyond that, what are we thinking about? We're thinking about cultivating and bringing different colors and ideas to the stage. But here's a really big one, and I think something that a lot of people forget when they make program notes. The entire reason we make program notes is to help those poor people in the crowd who have no idea what any of this is. To help them connect to the emotional story that we are trying to create. That, I think, is the most important part of your program notes, and I think that's really what you should be striving for when you create your program notes. Let me go a little bit more further into that by showing you exactly what I did with my program notes. My program notes start off with this: a guide to Carissa Mimrick's graduate recital, in parentheses, formerly known as program notes. Now, when your family comes to your recital, I know a lot of your families, probably you're not coming from a classical singing background. That's normal, and that's totally cool. I didn't come from a classical singing background, so both my parents would come to these recitals and be like, oh, program notes, that sounds scholastic. So I was like, okay, this is a path, this is a guide, so that you don't feel like you're left in the dark when I'm singing Mozart in a different language and you're like, oh, cool, that's the same notes again and again. But really, it's not the same notes again and again. It's that Mozart's making a dick joke, or we're doing this stupid thing here now and we're making fun of the pedantic thing about the way life is. So there were 3 pieces in the beginning set. The fiery song, the Il pleut dans mon cœur, which is like the sad kind of introspective song, and then Pantomime, which was also a Debussy's song as well. So 3 French pieces, they tie together with one theme, but they all have different kind of musical landscapes. And then the way I started it, the way I introduced it was something like, I'll read the first part of it. The first set is full of Ravel and Debussy's famous musical landscapes. The set begins with the fiery aria from Ravel's opera L'Enfant et les Sortilèges, and then moves on to one of Debussy's art songs that describes a deep melancholy and ends with a delightful piece that some of the wacky characters in Commedia dell'arte, blah, blah, blah. And the way that I described those together is like, that's what you're doing in the program notes, is you're constantly tying together these musical experiences of a unified central idea of what the audience is supposed to be listening for. That's the thing, is like, what is the point of creating a recital? It's so that you're showing similarities and differences of different pieces of music to your audience, so that not only is the little bitty in the back row who only knows church music gonna enjoy it and learn more about music, but your professor is gonna go, oh, that's an interesting connection that they made between these two pieces that are both French pieces. Like, if you're constantly trying to find musical connections or disconnections, like, that's what we're trying to do here with these program notes, right? That's what we're trying to do with the synthesis, with the unity of a recital piece, in my opinion. And the thing is I pulled these songs from things I had already worked on or things I had genuine interest in. And that's the thing, is like, when we are picking songs for our recital or for our juries, like, oftentimes we look at something that our teachers already picked for us and we're like, okay, we'll just do that. Fine. I don't want to learn new music. But the thing is there's so many art songs out there that are like a minute, 2 minutes, 50 seconds. And that's the thing, is like, what we're trying to do here is we're trying to create a soundbite of like art. And like, why not pick those obscure pieces? Like, go to your musicology professors, go to your music history professors, be like, what is a cool piece that's in French that is this, like, or this, and this, and like, email them appropriately. But like, if you are trying to find like creative and new music like that, like, you're never going to hurt yourself by trying to learn more about the craft that we're in. The second set is Schubertiade, right? So that's basically like harkening back to the idea of people coming together to listen to cool music, and Schubert obviously hosted those. And so I talked about exactly when that started and like who created these things and who are the characters in this story. You know, like, were they super rich businessmen that were like also had a hobby of music, you know? So I was kind of creating a narrative and a story of what would be in a setting like this. So again, like, you have to transport these people to a place, right? And then I also, you know, added all of the translations. We'll talk about that in a second. My next set is the Cuatro Madrigales Amitorios by Rodrigo. I loved this guy's story. I thought it was so cool that he's blind and he wrote his music in Braille. And then I ended with my English cycles, right? Very commonly, I feel like people will put their classical and more inaccessible pieces at the front of the program or at the middle of the program when people's attention is like still there. And then they'll kind of like tie it up with like the contemporary or the interesting avant-garde or the English piece at the end, right? Just to kind of like be like, okay, like, it's almost done, don't worry, like, hang in there. And I added I Hate Music by Leonard Bernstein, which is totally accessible, totally a lovable piece, totally overdone, I'm sure. But then I ended with A Word on My Ear by Flanders and Swan, which is basically like a finale. Hey, like, we're done with this thing now, bye, kind of thing. So I created that kind of atmosphere at the end. I gave my audience a send-off and basically was like, okay, see you guys, and like left them with a feel-good thing. Like, you also kind of have to think about the feeling that they're gonna feel at the end of your recital. Like, did you just like nail that high note at the end? Did you just like bring them to tears at the end? Like, how are they gonna leave the recital hall, right? For most recitals, like, you kind of want to leave them on a high note and make them feel like, oh, cool, that was a really awesome performance. And you want to give them something to talk about, right? So I would put a conversation piece at the very end, because usually they're going to remember the very end and then they're going to have conversations with each other. They're going to talk about things, right? So really, when it comes down to it, when you're creating your program notes, you are taking them on a Disney ride. You're taking them on that ride of like, it's a small world after all, and you're showing them all the different countries and you're showing them all the different languages, right? That is the point of program notes. You are taking them on a ride and you are giving them the guide right in front of their faces and saying, look, don't worry, I'll hold your hand. That's what you got to do on those program notes, right? Now, let's talk about translations, right? So there are parts in my program notes where I just straight up copy and pasted, which is with the Rodrigo pieces. But if it is an aria, and if it is an aria that repeats a ton of times, you need to create the translations that are specific to what emotion you think that character is feeling in that moment. That is extremely important. Like, let's go to the first piece that I have, which is the Arriere sung by the fire. And so there's lines I have at the very end that basically say, beware, I fill with good and warmth, beware, I burn up the wicked, beware, take care. Now those are 3 different phrases in English. They're actually the same in the French. You see a lot of classical pieces and classical arias that have the same text over and over again, but the music is different. And so you need to be able to, as an artist, interpret, wait, is this version of it more melancholy? Do I need to have a different connotation of the word that is maybe not as strong, or do I need to build my connotation of the words to be stronger? Because what you're doing is you're also bridging the gap for your viewers to show them, hey, this thing is a journey. Every single song that you're doing is a journey. So the more that you solidify your storytelling, even through your translations, the better off you're gonna be. If you have the words written, my lover is lost, 15 times, I mean, geez Louise, nobody's gonna wanna see that on a page. That's a waste of space. They're gonna think that that aria is a waste of space. Do you want your audience to think that that beautiful piece of music is a waste of space? No. The program notes are about taking your audience on a trip and giving them a guide on how to listen to this music. And your translations also tell the story as well. Big point 3, tying it all together and making it synergistic. From the moment they walk into your recital, they are having the experience of your recital. Like, that incorporates the reception afterwards with your parents that are serving all of the cheeses and stuff like that. That incorporates in a jury, for example, that incorporates the moment you walk in, the conversation you have with the panelists, how you look when you go up to the pianist, how you speak to the pianist, how you leave the room, how you say goodbye, how you forget your folder and then go back to the pianist and say, sorry, because I've done that a million times too, don't worry. But it's all about the experience that they have the second that they are in that experience with you and the second that they're not part of that experience with you. And for your juries, yeah, you might be synergistic about it, but for recitals, you gotta be super synergistic about it. And that means possibly weaving a total theme that is about love and loss. That's great, that's awesome. But how do you fit all of those songs into something that is love and loss? There's a lot of creative ways to connect things and make a strings attached kind of idea, right? So those 3 ideas that will help you create a awesome recital or jury. You must cultivate a lot of different colors and experiences that humans would have. 2, you have to know the reason why we create program notes and know that that reason is for storytelling. And 3, you have to make sure the entire experience is synergistic. Now, I'm gonna give you guys a bonus because I really like this part of it, and this is recital posters. I loved making recital posters. Like, I thought they were the funnest thing to do because I already liked editing and stuff like that. Piece of advice, canva.com, canva.com. It is a free service. If you pay like $1, you can upgrade some of your stuff. It's really, really a great service to use. You can get great pictures on an iPhone nowadays. So like, you really do have a lot of different options to create a cool picture. And that picture and that text is also gonna tell the story of your recital. That's also part of your storytelling, right? Like, so many people forget that like, the recital poster is what makes people go, I'm going to that recital. I don't care what I got going on that night, I'm going to that recital. So if you want your recital to be big and bright and colorful, that's what your poster looks like. If you want your recital to be like introspective and sad and like really deep, then like you do a black and white picture of yourself looking off into the distance and then put your name somewhere, right? I'm gonna go ahead and post the picture of my recital poster right here. I got this picture done by a professional. I got this photo shoot for free because I won a contest, which is awesome, and I'm super thankful for that. But you can see, like, I'm not really the focus of the picture. I'm not really the focus of the poster. It's more about like the lines that I'm creating. It's more about like the colors I'm creating. And my name is pretty huge, right? I would recommend making your name pretty huge because people need to know like who they're coming to see. And then of course there are like specifications that the university want you to put on the poster and stuff like that, which are not too hard to do. You can just copy and paste them and stuff like that. My poster also has all of the information that you need to add. So if you are curious about what you should add on a recital poster, that is what you should reference. I love recital posters. I love creating them. I love doing pictures. And the thing is, you don't even have to have a picture of yourself, but have something that's really gonna pop. Don't have a picture of a flower. Everybody does that. This is a picture of a flower. Wow, blooming, spring. Great, cool. If you wanna put pictures of flowers, make a composition of like a ton of pictures of flowers. Find an artist that you really like and ask them to make you a picture of a flower, and then like throw them like $5 or $10 or something like that if they're into that thing, or like buy them coffee or something. There's so many ways to create and to cultivate other artists to create with you. That's super cool, my friend. One of my friends that also had a graduate recital recently, Carissa, her name is my name, but it's with a K. And she has this really, really cool recital poster where she like did kind of like an 80s photo shoot, and it's like her face, and it's like her face to the side, and she's got like crazy like 80s makeup and like garb. That totally showed her personality because she's like this super fun, upbeat person that's like kind of quirky. If I was in town, I would have gone to that recital. In conclusion, the entire process of creating a jury, a recital, or any group of musics that you are performing is about storytelling. This entire thing is about storytelling. And I think so often this stuff gets really scary when we stop thinking about what this is really all about. And it's to tell a story to other humans, and it's to relate humanity to other humans. And that's such a cool thing. So I look forward to hearing about all of the things that you create. If you want to contact me and tell me something that you really wanted to create, or if you have a question about like a recital that you're wanting to create or a program that you want to create, please reach out to me. Like, I have my email on my website. I have like an Instagram, I have a Facebook, I have so many social media outlets. And if you would like to comment even on this YouTube video, like, please do. I would love to hear from you. And I hope that you have a great time creating your recital, and I'm so sorry if you've heard shuffling this entire video because I have a raccoon stuck in my ceiling, so I apologize for that. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you take a look at my other videos, but I hope you get value out of this video. It really means a lot to me that you're taking the time to watch it, so have a great day. Bye, guys.